No DQ Galaxy, we are live with the WrestleMania 38 Saturday recap. Thank you guys so much for tuning in late. I really do appreciate your viewership and support. It is past midnight, Sunday, April 3rd, a very long day. We had NXT TakeOver earlier. You could check out that recap video over at youtube.com/AaronRift.NoDQ. While I do appreciate the super chats very much, I do ask that you guys stick to the topic if possible. So if you would like to send a super chat about the main event, please send it as I'm talking about the main event segments, just so I'm not going all over the place. Anyways, we're going to get right to this. WrestleMania, there was a 2-hour kickoff show. Why? I have no idea because, well, we had no kickoff matches, and it was just a lot of video packages, which WWE repeated throughout the entire show. I feel like I saw the Steve Austin Bob with Bob promo like 5 times in one day between the kickoff show, WrestleMania itself, and Stand and Deliver. But we got to the show. We kicked off WrestleMania with the Usos going up against Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs for the Smackdown Tag Team titles. Tom McCarthy sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Tom. Says, way too many video packages for WrestleMania Sunday. Yes, I agree with that. I'll talk more about the video packages in just a little bit, though. So, the Usos defending their titles. Unfortunately, this match never really got out of first gear. Nakamura got some early offense. Usos gained the upper hand. And then Rick Boogs got the tag, started doing his signature moves where he was showing off his strength. But then there was a spot where he had both Usos up on his shoulders and his knee buckled. His knee gave out on him. He collapsed. Nakamura tagged back in, and Boogs was not seen again for the remainder of the match. Nakamura went on his own, went for the Kinshasa, but got hit with a super kick. Jimmy hit a frog splash. Nakamura was able to kick out of that, but then the Usos worked together. They hit the 1D, and they finished off Nakamura scoring the pinfall victory to retain the tag team titles. Entrance for Nakamura and Boogs was great, but a real shame about the injury. Officials were checking on Boogs, and it appeared that he tore his quad. And I believe later on in the show, WWE did announce that he suffered a quad patella injury and will need surgery. Really sucks. I felt terrible for Boogs, and unfortunately, a sad way to start off the show. Anonymous user sent in a $2 super chat, says, very vanilla with tons of botches. Hi, Matthew. Matthew from Botchamania, I presume. This match was very short. I'm guessing quite a bit of time got cut because of the Rick Boogs injury. I really like Rick Boogs a lot. Very entertaining character, and I suspect he'll be out of action for a while, but hopefully we'll see him back in the ring at some point. Just very unfortunate. We then had Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin in the second match of the evening. I really had no interest in this match going in, did not really care about it, but I will say they had a pretty solid match. It was fine for a WrestleMania undercard match, although didn't really feel like anything other than a SmackDown TV match, but there was one point that felt like WrestleMania, and that's when McIntyre kicked out of the End of Days. I believe McIntyre is the first person, to my knowledge, that has kicked out of the End of Days. If it's been done before, I do not remember it. And I know the announcers really made a big deal out of it. The end of days was one of the few finishers that was very much protected. And you had Madcap Moss interfering during the match. McIntyre overcame the odds, as I expected he would. He hit the Claymore, picked up the victory. After the match was over, Moss got on the apron. McIntyre had his sword, Angela, and he swung the sword. Moss moved out of the way at the last second, and two of the ropes got sliced. There was a sound effect to go along with it. Man, that is a powerful sword. You know what? I get it. They were going for a WrestleMania moment here for Drew with the ropes, but it was a bit goofy, and the match was okay. Could have been on SmackDown, but I like that they did the end of days kick out to add a little bit more to it for WrestleMania. So now we move on. We had Rey Mysterio teaming up with his son Dominik against The Miz and Logan Paul. Yes, Logan Paul, that guy, the YouTube celebrity. Rey and Dominik had a pretty cool entrance. Rey was wearing a Mexican flag outfit. Dominik had a U.S. flag outfit, which was a tribute to Eddie Guerrero, who wore a similar outfit back in AAA many years ago. Logan Paul did really well here, and I figured he would. Logan Paul, I know he's not popular, but the guy, he plays the heel role really well. And there was one point where he started doing the Eddie Guerrero Three Amigos. Great way to get heel heat. And he went up to the top. He did the little Eddie Guerrero taunt, and then he hit a frog splash. Dominik was able to make the save at the last minute. Rey and Dominik hit a double 619 to Paul. And they were on the verge of winning the match, but then The Miz had tagged himself back in. Mysterios did not know this, and Miz hit the skull-crushing finale to Rey and scored the pinfall victory. So yes, The Miz actually won a match on pay-per-view. It's been a while. And I figured that, especially after Raw, I changed my prediction because I felt like they've been making The Miz look so bad. He had to be getting a big win here at WrestleMania. And sure enough, he did. And then after the match, The Miz, babyface turn, he attacked his partner, Logan Paul, taking him down with a skull-crushing finale. And as you can imagine, the crowd popped huge for this. This was maybe the biggest pop of The Miz's career when he took down Logan Paul with the skull-crushing finale. This was entertaining. And by the way, Logan Paul's brother Jake Paul was on the kickoff show. I guess if you wanted to watch the kickoff show for that, go ahead. But yeah, he was on the kickoff show. Logan Paul looked good. I will give the guy credit. He did well here. Match was entertaining. This felt like something worthy of being at WrestleMania. Nelson with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Nelson. Says, who's the better wrestler, Logan Paul or Bad Bunny? Well, I think Bad Bunny overall did more athletically, but Logan Paul as a character playing the heel role, I think he did great. So I think maybe Logan Paul perhaps did even better as far as the overall character goes. But Bad Bunny did some stuff I was not expecting him to do. A guy that really did not need to be doing crazy things in the ring. You know, he did that destroyer. He did the dive off the top. So both of them were good in their own ways. Now we'll move on to Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. And before this match, Stephanie McMahon brought out Gable Steveson, had him out there just to salute the fans, kind of similar to SummerSlam, just to remind everybody that he is, in fact, in WWE. So anyways, big entrances here for Becky and Bianca. Becky had an SUV driver to the ring, or driver to the stage, I should say. And then Bianca Belair had a marching band. Becky had this like 1980s rocker outfit and makeup. Her hair was cut, obviously, so it was shorter due to what Bianca Belair did. Mr. Tito sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Tito. Says, night one would be considered a great WrestleMania. I agree with you, Mr. Tito, but we're not done with the recap yet. We'll get to that in a bit. This match was really good. Really, really strong match here between the ladies. They were going hard. They were holding nothing back. I loved the beginning. Becky went for the handshake, or Bianca went for the handshake. Becky punched her in the face, went for the manhandle slam, but Bianca countered it, went for the KOD, and then Bianca slipped out and hit the manhandle slam. So basically, this was recreating SummerSlam, only this time Bianca kicked out. I love that they did the call back to that. Really good stuff here. And then we actually had a full-blown match between these two. Becky tried to cheat with her feet on the ropes. She was unsuccessful. And they went back and forth. They traded multiple near falls. And then Bianca was thrown into the steel steps on the outside of the ring by Becky Lynch. They went back and forth in the ring, went back to the outside. Bianca suplexed Becky on the floor. Both of them got back in the ring before the 10 count. Bianca hit a really good-looking 450 splash, but Becky kicked out of that. Bianca tried to hit the KOD, but Becky grabbed the rope, and they went to the outside of the ring again. And that's when Becky grabbed Bianca on the outside, hit her with the manhandle slam on the steel steps, and Bianca was barely able to make the 10 count. Literally 9 9/10. She finally got back into the ring. And there was one point, Jason EXP brought this up. Becky botched a drop kick off the top rope. There was one point where Becky tried to hit the Molly go round, and yeah, she basically kicked Bianca in the face, like did a somersault, and her foot connected with Bianca's face. That was pretty brutal. They showed the replay of that, and hopefully Bianca wasn't hurt too much from that one. So they were back in the ring, and Bianca finally hit the KOD. Really good-looking KOD also. One of the best ones we've seen. She hit the KOD, scored the pinfall victory to become the champion. So yes, Bianca Belair got her redemption from SummerSlam and regained, well, she was the SmackDown champion, so now she's the Raw Women's Champion. Hell of a match here. The ladies really delivered in this one. Really, really good. Maybe the best women's match at WrestleMania. Maybe the best women's match in WWE. It's up there for sure. Right up there among the best women's matches at WrestleMania for sure. Great stuff here. Then we had perhaps the most anticipated match for either night of WrestleMania. Seth Rollins versus the mystery opponent, chosen by Mr. McMahon. And big shout out, we have almost 400 people watching live right now. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you enjoy the video, please consider giving it a like and maybe even subscribing. Regular recaps are here every single week. Raw, SmackDown, AEW Dynamite. And stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the latest wrestling backstage news and rumors. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $2.88 super chat. Says Bianca is now a Triple Crown champion. Yes, you are correct on that one, Caleb. NXT champion, SmackDown Women's champion, and now the Raw Women's champion. So we had Seth Rollins with a choir for his entrance. That was pretty cool. I liked the entrance, and the outfit he was wearing was quite outlandish, as you might expect. from one Seth freaking Rollins. And we had the lengthy pause. They were really milking this for all it was worth. A lengthy pause. Pyro started to go off. The lights went out. And then we had Kingdom play, the theme song of Cody Rhodes. So yes, the rumors were true. Cody Rhodes is back in WWE. Big reaction from the fans. Cody rose up. He even had the royalty line at the beginning. Wrestling has more than one royal family. He rose up from the stage just like he did in AEW. And he made his big grand entrance. Crowd was going absolutely nuts for this. And they had their match. Cody Rhodes versus Seth freaking Rollins. Mr. Tito with a $2 super chat says, founder Cody joining WWE is the beginning of AEW's end. Well, I doubt that's the case, but yeah, this is a huge moment. First big AEW jump to WWE. And by the way, we're almost at 500 live viewers now, so I really do thank you guys for tuning in. It's very much appreciated. Jason EXP sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jason. Says, when the lights went out, I was worried Undertaker's gong would go off. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see people thinking that, but with the pyro, that's not really the Undertaker's thing. Usually they just do the gong sound. But thank you for the super chat. Buildin Nexus sent in a $20 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, prediction, Cody will beat Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Well, all of a sudden, my idea of Cody beating Roman Reigns doesn't sound so crazy after all. People thought I was nuts to even suggest that idea, but man, Cody came off like a major star in this match as far as I'm concerned. Thank you very much for the generous super chat. Dustin sent in a $5 super chat, says, was those stiff shots on purpose? Cody was marked up everywhere after the match. Maybe they just too soft in AEW. Well, Cody definitely got his bruises in AEW. You saw the flaming table spot he did a couple months back, and the cage matches, and when MJF gave him the whippings. Like Cody lets people lay it in. Cody is not afraid to go hard in these matches. And that's what he did here. Him and Seth Rollins, I mean, I'm not going to talk about every detail of the match, but these guys had a really phenomenal match, like about as good of a match as you could ask for under these circumstances with Cody coming back. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. Says, I knew this was coming a mile away, but could not prepare for this moment. I was shocked. Wrestling is in his blood. My favorite match of the night. I'm with you on that, Caleb. And, you know, it was one of those scenarios, believe it when you see it. But I will tell you this, once Cody showed up, I was 100% invested in this match from start to finish. Johnny Boy sent in a $5 super chat, says, night one was a 10 out of 10, had good surprises, good wrestling, and Austin had a match. What more do you need? Pay-per-view of the year so far. And that's right. So far, they still have night two, although last year, I think night one was stronger than night two. And just to add on to what Caleb said in the last super chat, Cody Rhodes coming back, like I figured, yeah, he would come back and it would make sense for him to beat Seth Rollins, but I still wasn't sure. Like they had me second guessing during this match. And to me, that's a sign that they really did a phenomenal job with the storytelling in this match and putting us on that journey and the roller coaster ride and everything. Shanti sent in a $2 super chat, says, this crowd was ruined for the next match, LOL. Well, we'll get to that here in just a minute, but thank you for that, Shanti. Patrick sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate it. Says, love the show. What was your opinion of match of the night? It was this match for sure. I mean, they started off feeling out process. They had a very lengthy match here. I'm not sure the exact time, but I believe it went 20 plus minutes here. Cody was doing a little nod to Stardust, did the cartwheel and the little taunt. Rollins was like, "It's good to see you," took a cheap shot. Cody fought back, and they both tried to suplex each other, and Cody ended up suplexing Rollins out of the ring. And Cody worked over the arm of Rollins for a while. Rollins worked over the ribs of Cody. Cody came off the top, and Rollins caught him with a drop kick. Rollins with a little knock at AEW, I guess, saying that he said the following. He said, "Welcome back to the big leagues, bitch." I thought that was a great line. Cody sent Rollins to the outside, hit a suicide dive. Rollins took a great bump over the announce table and then gave Cody a buckle bomb into the barricade area. Rebuilding Nexus sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, "One more thing, WWE can no longer avoid addressing AEW." And you know what? They should. AEW is a legitimate alternative to WWE, and I think more so than Impact Wrestling ever was. And I think WWE knew this from the beginning. If you remember, Sami Zayn did make a reference to that moment. And we got a $2 super chat from Seth Rollins. Says, "Vince effed me." Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And Mr. Tito with a $2 super chat says, "Love the dusty punches and bionic elbow." Yeah, so Cody, for one of his comebacks, he did the punches, he did the bionic elbow. Crowd popped huge for that. Roderick Davis sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, "Considering that they're at AT&T Stadium, I'm surprised there wasn't over 100,000 fans. I think the card is stronger than WrestleMania 32. Well, if you went on Twitter, a lot of people disagreed with that. And they definitely had 60,000. They announced like 77,000. So they didn't try to go with the 100,000. I don't think they would have gone away with marking it up that much. But they drew a pretty big crowd. It looked almost completely full. I think maybe a couple of the upper deck sections looked like they were darkened and maybe there were some empty seats there, but it was a huge crowd nonetheless. Anyways, this match just went back and forth, and Rollins hit Cody with a Falcon Arrow. Cody kicked out. Rollins missed the curb stomp twice. Cody hit the crossroads. However, Seth freaking Rollins kicked out of that. Let's see here. Clayton, the Specialist Williams, sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Clayton. He says, "Honestly, I was expecting the Fiend when the lights went out." Well, again, I think it was the pyro that let people know this was going to be something different. The way the pyro went off wasn't what you would usually expect. Got another $20 super chat here, but no comment. Thank you for that. I very much appreciate the super chat. And let's get back to this. Oh, here we go. So Rollins hit an inverted superplex to Cody. Cody kicked out of that. Crowd started chanting, "This is awesome." Cody did the Cody cutter, the springboard cutter to Rollins. Rollins kicked out of that. Rollins then busted out the pedigree. I thought that was great. You know, nice little reference. Of course, Rollins does that move, and Cody, his whole history with Triple H. Cody kicked out of that. I liked that as a near fall. Rollins started showboating, and that's what ultimately led to his downfall. Cody hit the crossroads 2 more times, did the dusty punches and bionic elbow, and then hit a third crossroads to pick up the win. Crowd just completely lost it. They went absolutely nuts for this. Cody had his big celebration, and he kissed the mat. Like I said, he came off like a main event superstar in this match. I mean, it was pretty much, I can't even really criticize it. It was a virtual perfect return for Cody Rhodes. He came back and they did everything right. You know, it's kind of funny because when I was watching this, I'm like, how are they going to screw this up? You know, it's WWE, and we all kind of lose faith that they will end up doing the right thing. Kind of like WrestleMania 30 with Daniel Bryan. You're like thinking, how are they going to screw this up? And they actually went through with what the fans wanted. And in this case, Cody Rhodes having this big return, it went about as well as possible. And yeah, fantastic segment. These guys delivered big time. And Cody, I would not be opposed to having him beat Roman Reigns at some point. And I'm not sure what they're doing with the unified title, but if they have Reigns drop the WWE title, Cody Rhodes beats him, I think that could work. Jason EXP with a $2 super chat says, Seth versus Cody feud? Well, for sure. I'm guessing we will see these guys going at it again. This will not be the last time we see Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes. And yeah, it's pretty interesting because Cody's last big match in WWE was WrestleMania in Dallas back in 2016 at 32. And then this year he came back. So nice full circle here. And they did acknowledge that he was gone for 6 years. I do not think they mentioned AEW at all, but somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. I do not think AEW was actually said or really referenced to, just that Cody was gone for 6 years. Jamie sent in a $1.79 super chat and says, Seth Rollins is this generation's Mr. WrestleMania. Yeah, I mean, Cody did great, and Seth really did an awesome job here. It takes two to tango. Both guys put on a really amazing match. Arguably match of the year up to this point. And Seth Rollins sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Seth. He says, it is obvious that we need Cody versus Randy Orton at some point due to their history. Oh, absolutely. That would be great. And I could definitely see that happening at some point. You know, Cody, I'm sure he's here for the long haul, and we'll see some of those old rivalries continued and some new ones created. Brian Duff with a $2 super chat says, what happened if it was Bray Wyatt and not Cody? Well, I mean, that's a big what if, but there were so many teases with Cody. I think it had to be Cody here. They had anybody else, I think people would have felt disappointed. Even Bray Wyatt, because they made all the Cody references, and there was all this buzz about an AEW EVP leaving the company and going to WWE, and people were wanting to see that happen, for the novelty of it. It's a big moment in wrestling history. All right, let's see here. Okay, we're going to move on here. Definitely 100%. This is a match. If you did not see it, you need to go out of your way and see it immediately. Hell, I would say turn off this video and go watch it on Peacock if you haven't seen it yet. I'll be okay with that. All right, so now we move on to Charlotte Flair defending the SmackDown Women's title against Ronda Rousey. And Hab Connell said, I saw Charlotte's Tata. He sent in $2. And something happened here. During the match, the screen went black. And I'm guessing there was some kind of wardrobe malfunction. And that's why the screen went black. So that's probably what Hamp was referring to there. I feel bad for them in a way because they were in a rough spot here. They had to follow Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair and Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. And then after that, Steve Austin was coming out. So they were basically in this buffer match position for the SmackDown Women's title. Tough spot for them, for sure. Clayton the Specialist Williams with a $2 super chat says, we need Rift Aronson at Mania. I don't think Rift Aronson will ever leave the state of Oregon again. So WrestleMania will have to go to Oregon for that to happen. People were saying Charlotte's boob popped out, and that's why the screen went black. And yeah, I'm guessing that's what happened. Andrew Watson sent in a $2 super chat, but no comment. Thank you for that, Andrew. I do appreciate it. So anyways, this match was actually pretty decent. Now, before we get to the match, I do want to note that we had the Hall of Fame inductees come out to the stage, the usual segment with the Hall of Fame people coming out on the stage at WrestleMania. Undertaker, of course, got a very lengthy moment. He got his entrance music. He saluted the fans, but no fist in the air when he left. That was interesting. And they announced 77,899. Obviously a worked number, as WWE tends to do. I think the real number was a little bit over 60,000. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $2 super chat, says, what happened to New Day? Match got cut due to time. And I actually forgot that it was even on night one. I thought it was night two, but apparently it was night one, and they had to cut it due to time constraints. Now, no word yet if it's going to be on night two. And I just find it funny. They did so many video packages and like these little featurettes on various people like Bobby Lashley. And I'm thinking, do we really need all this? If I had to criticize this show, one of my few criticisms would be too many unnecessary video packages. Let's keep the show moving along. Maybe they feel like they got to do that to let the crowd cool down a little bit between matches. I mean, they probably have a good reason for doing it, and we just don't know. And to respond to Andrew, I do not think Austin is wrestling again. I think that tonight was the one and done, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. So what I liked about Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey is that they focused on the submission wrestling. It was a nice change of pace from some of the other stuff that we were seeing on the show. They changed it up, and they were trying to tap out each other. And Rousey hit the Piper's Pit, went for the arm bar, but Charlotte avoided the submission. And they would go back and forth trading submissions. Ronda would get the ankle lock on. Charlotte would counter it with her own ankle lock. Rousey got it on again, doing the leg hook, but Charlotte was able to kick Rousey in the face to break the hold. And Charlotte got the figure eight on. Nobody has ever broken out of the figure eight, but Ronda Rousey was the first person to escape the hold. She rolled to the bottom rope, and Rousey hit the Piper's Pit again. Charlotte got her foot on the rope, and then Rousey started to talk to the referee, getting frustrated. Charlotte hit the natural selection. Rousey kicked out of that, and then Charlotte went for the figure four or figure eight again. Rousey countered it, but in the process, Charlotte ended up spearing the referee accidentally. Rousey got the armbar on. Charlotte was tapping out. No referee. Rousey had to grab the referee, but when she did that, Charlotte took advantage, hit a big boot, and pinned Ronda Rousey. So yes, Ronda Rousey lost to Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. I was not expecting this. Walter Cruz sent in a $2 super chat, says, legit shocked me, didn't see Charlotte retaining. Yeah, I was not expecting this either, and maybe it was for the better. Maybe they decided to change it up with Austin coming back and all that, not being in the main event. They figured, let's save this for another pay-per-view where it can be the main event and Ronda can win the title closing out the show. Code Black says Aaron is old but cool. Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. Seth Rollins sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Seth. Says, have two-night WrestleManias become the norm? I really miss the full show event. Yeah, it's 2 nights, and I honestly think it's better for 2 nights, although it is a lot to digest, just the whole weekend in general. I just wish they would have Stand and Deliver on a different night, because you add that, and it feels like we watched an 8-hour show just split into 2 parts during the day. But yeah, next year's WrestleMania in Hollywood, they did officially confirm that that will be 2 nights as well, April 1st and April 2nd at SoFi Stadium. Mr. Tito with a $2 super chat says, Charlotte and Ronda did well considering the spot. And I agree. The match was not great. Ric Flair called it the greatest women's match on Twitter. And, well, it wasn't the best women's match at night one of WrestleMania, but it was a good match. There were a few moments that were pretty awkward, but I did like the submission wrestling, and it was solid. I definitely thought it was solid considering the spot that they were in. And now we move on to the main event segment of the evening. The Kevin Owens Show with special guest Steve Austin. You had the KO signs, the chairs. Owens cut this promo, said if the United States was a human body, Texas would be the ass. Owens said he was sorry for telling the truth about the state, said it's worse than he remembered, said he wasn't going to bring out Austin until he was ready. He kept on trash talking, and finally, Austin's music hit. Unfortunately, he kept his shirt on, but Austin was in his gear. He had his knee braces, the jean shorts, the Austin 316 t-shirt. Looked like he was having some trouble walking around. He saluted the fans on both sides of the stadium, and then he went to the back. He got his ATV and rode down to the ringside area. He got in the ring. Owens said he doesn't want to fight. He just wanted to talk. So Austin sat down in the chair. Austin called Owens a stupid son of a bitch for insulting the great state of Texas. And Owens tried to convince Austin that he's right about the state of Texas. And Austin responded by saying 70,000 people are going to be calling you an asshole, which they did. And Owens then revealed that he actually tricked Austin. He actually does want to fight. And Owens challenged Austin to a no-holds-barred match. So yes, Owens wanted to have an actual match with Steve Austin. And Austin surveyed the fans. If you want to see me fight Kevin Owens in a match, give me a hell yeah. And of course, the fans did say hell yeah. So Austin said, bring a referee down. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. Says, Austin almost said the GD word. He did. He stopped. I think he said the God match. And also he said shit. But we hear that on AEW Dynamite every week, so nothing special these days. Although for WWE, it's a little more rare, except for when Bobby Lashley says it or MVP. So the referee came into the ring, and we had our match. The bell rang. We officially had our first Steve Austin match in 19 years, since WrestleMania 19. Jason EXP sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Jason. Says, Austin was cussing up a storm. Indeed, he was. Drinking a lot of beer as well. So they had a match here. Austin, like I said, looked like he was having some trouble. He was struggling with this, but he's Steve freaking Austin, and I think we can forgive him for it. I mean, these guys had a very entertaining match, despite Austin's limitations, and Austin did quite a bit here, more than you might expect. Austin beat the crap out of Owens for a while, drank some beers, but then they ended up fighting into the stands. And at one point, Owens had grabbed a table from under the ring, tried to throw Austin into it, but Austin reversed it and sent Owens into the table. They fought on the outside. They went into the crowd and they were fighting, and Austin got suplexed on the concrete floor. And yeah, there was a comment here in the chat room. I was nervous every time Austin took a bump. But yeah, he did take a few bumps in this match. And Owens was selling like crazy for Austin. Owens got on the barricade and Austin grabbed him and slammed him onto the announce table. And they continued the brawl. Austin drank more beer. Owens tried to escape. Austin went after him. Owens tried to get on the ATV and drive away, but Austin caught him. And then the two of them, with Austin driving, went up to the top of the stage. They fought up on the stage. Austin suplexed Owens on the stage twice, and then Austin threw Owens down the stage back towards the ring. And back in the ring, Owens got the upper hand here because Austin was drinking a little bit too much booze. And Owens hit Stone Cold Steve Austin with the stunner. However, Stone Cold kicked out. It was a great near fall because we're all thinking, well, maybe Austin's just going to put over Owens in this match. But nope, Austin did kick out. And then Owens got a chair and took a little page out of The Rock's playbook where he swung the chair, but he missed. The chair bounced on the ropes and went back into Owens' face. That's something that The Rock did back in the day. And then Austin hit a Stone Cold Stunner, picked up the 1-2-3 victory. Match went about 13 minutes. So they had a pretty decent length of a match. And we got to see Steve Austin kick some ass in an official match capacity one more time. The only thing is I would have liked if he had the shirt off, but you know what? He's 56 years old and he still looked like the old Stone Cold, so it was cool. Big nostalgia here, and I know for a lot of fans, this was their first time getting to see Steve Austin wrestle on a live wrestling show. So, that was pretty cool that a lot of people got to see this, got to see what we all got to experience during the Attitude Era here in 2022. And Jason EXP with a $5 super chat says, so happy for KO, finally got his WrestleMania main event with Stone Cold. Hell yeah. And I know people are going to say, oh, Owens is buried or whatever, which is dumb. Owens got to be in the main event of WrestleMania with Steve Austin in a match that was competitive. And, to him, that's like a dream come true. Steve Austin was a guy he looked up to and was an influence on him getting into wrestling. So for Owens, this had to be like the highlight of his career to work with Steve Austin. It's like if you're an actor and you're in a film with your idol, and yeah, maybe your idol beats you in the end, you're the antagonist and the protagonist wins at the end of the movie, but you got to do a movie with your idol. That's what it's like. Mr. Tito with the $2 super chat. Thank you, Tito. I appreciate it. Says, great finish with the chair hitting Owens, protects him. Yeah, and it was a nice little throwback to The Rock. It was exactly what fans wanted to see out of this. They wanted to see a fight here, and we got to see Austin take a few bumps, and it was fun. It was fun. Austin didn't need to really move fast. He's Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was great. And afterwards, Austin did a big celebration. He gave Owens a second Stone Cold Stunner. And then we had Byron Saxton get into the ring. He got hit with a stunner. And Byron took a great stunner bump. I'll give him credit on that. And then afterwards, Austin brought in his brother. They hugged. That was a cool moment. And then Austin finished the night by getting on the mic and saying it's great to be back in the state of Texas because Stone Cold Steve Austin. Great end to the show. And I mean, this WrestleMania was awesome. Great show. As far as I'm concerned, this was one of the best WrestleManias ever. And this was just one night. It's a 2-night event. Like I said, there was a negative with the video packages. I wish they would cut back on those. Show did feel like it ran a little bit long. The 2-hour kickoff is completely unnecessary. And the whole thing with Rick Boogs was very unfortunate. To me, that is the only reason I'm not giving this an A+. But I'm giving the show a solid A. Great WrestleMania night. And the stuff that needed to deliver did big time. The Cody Rhodes return, Steve Austin. I mean, you can't ask for anything more. Austin went out there and gave us one more match and gave it everything he had, and it was very entertaining. So a big thumbs up to this show. I would absolutely 100% highly recommend watching this show. And the Logan Paul stuff, the undercard was entertaining too. Other than the Rick Boogs injury, you know, the McIntyre match, it was what it was, but it was fine. And the Ronda Rousey Charlotte match was good under the circumstances. The spot that they were in, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair was a great match. Bianca winning the title back, really good moment. So, yeah, I loved WrestleMania. Very awesome show. And you guys should definitely check it out if you missed it. So that is night one. It is Sunday. And we're going to be doing this again in about 24 hours. So I am heading out for the night. Going to try to catch up on some sleep. Did not get much last night. And it's been a very busy weekend. I really appreciate you guys checking out NoDQ.com. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Tell a friend. Spread the word. Let's do this again tomorrow night. And remember, say yes to NoDQ.com. Take care, everybody. And I will see you again after WrestleMania Sunday.